Top 10 Lessons from Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits by James Clear is the holy grail when it comes to guides on habit and behavior change. In this book, he provides a highly effective, practical, and step-by-step framework to embrace new good habits and break free from bad ones. In today's video, we will discuss top 10 lessons from Atomic Habits. So let's jump into the video to learn about each lesson in detail. Lesson 1. The power of compounding. Small things we do differently can make big differences in our lives, even if we don't realize it until many years later. It can be both in positive and negative ways. Our habits define who we are. Sometimes quick fixes or massive efforts are the only way to succeed, but the minor, almost unnoticeable improvements bring about amazing changes. Lesson 2. Goals versus system. The way we think about goals is wrong. We decide we want to achieve something, so we set a goal, but we don't think about what comes after that. We focus so much on the goal that we must remember to plan the smaller steps to reach it, and sometimes we try to figure out what to do next when we reach our goals. Lesson 3. Change your identity. There are 3 layers to changing how you behave. Outcomes are about changing what happens, like losing weight. When you set goals, they usually fall into this layer. The process is about changing your routine, like making meditation a habit. Most of the things you do repeatedly fit here. Identity is about changing your beliefs, like how you see yourself or the world. Most of your deep thoughts and ideas belong to this layer. The best way to change your habits is not to focus on what you want to get, but on the person you want to be. Lesson 4. The habit loop. Any habit is essentially a feedback loop of 4 phases. Cue is the starting point, or simply what triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. The information that predicts a reward. Craving is the motivational force behind every habit. You don't crave the habit itself, but the state change it leads to, or the pleasure associated with it. For example, you do not crave smoking a cigarette, you desire the feeling of relief it provides. The response is the habit or action you perform as a thought or action. Whether a response occurs depends on how motivated you are and the amount of friction associated with the behavior. This phase will be initiated if the motivation is greater than the friction you need to overcome to act. A reward is the end goal of every habit. We chase rewards because they satisfy our cravings and teach us which actions are worth remembering in the future. Lesson 5. Make it obvious. The implementation intention is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. It acts as a blueprint of how you want to execute a habit or new behavior. The most common cues for any action are the time, location, which are exactly what to target while creating the implementation intention. Once we have a precise plan of how we will execute a specific action, we don't have to wait around for inspiration or motivation to strike. Lesson 6. Habit stacking. No behavior happens in isolation. You often decide what you will do next based on what you just finished. Each action becomes a cue that triggers the next action. So why apply the same while forming new habits? We can look at actions or habits that we usually do and stack the cue to start our new habit on top of it. This is referred to as habit stacking. The idea is to utilize the momentum from the previous action to launch new behaviors. You can have endless stacking. Lesson 7. Temptation bundling. Our brain's wants and strong feelings are controlled by chemicals called dopamine. Habits are like loops that happen because of dopamine. When we get a lot of dopamine from doing something, it's more likely to become a habit. Scientists found that dopamine comes not just from pleasure, but also from expecting it. There's a thing called temptation bundling or Premack's principle. Something we're likely to do can make us do less likely things too. Lesson 8. The law of least effort. People tend to choose the easiest option when they have similar choices. This is called the law of least effort. To create new habits, we should make it easy to do good things and hard to do bad things. The smartest way to help yourself build good habits is to set up an environment to make those habits easier in the future. Lesson 9. The 2 minutes rule. Habit shaping. When you start a new habit, begin with just 2 minutes. If it feels hard right away, you might stop doing it regularly. The part you do in the first 2 minutes should be easy. After those 2 minutes, the next steps can be more challenging. But those first 2 minutes are crucial to get started. As you get used to it, those first 2 minutes become like a ritual that starts a bigger routine. You can only improve a habit once you're already doing it regularly. Instead of planning the habit with all the advanced and perfect steps, make it simple first so it's easier to start. Then you can work on making it better. Being perfect will come later. Lesson 10. The Goldilocks Rule. When we make goals or targets, we shouldn't go too far. People are most motivated when things are hard, but not too much. So when you start a new habit, don't expect too much at once. Remember, begin small, do it regularly, and keep progressing. Take small steps to make things harder over time. This way, you'll stay interested and motivated. Atomic Habits is a must-read book and deserves a special place on everyone's bookshelves. A quote among many good ones that stuck with me after reading this book is, "Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations." James Clear. Click the link in the description to listen to the complete book with an Audible subscription. Additionally, you get 1 download credit every month. Also, remember to comment on your favorite lesson from the book.